Okay, so when choosing a league starter, one of the things that I like to do is to check what worked in the last league. And for me, what I check is week one specifically, because week one is usually enough data already to see what's leveling fast. And if a build is leveling fast, then that means it's progressing well. So what I did was I took the data from poe.ninja and I gave it to Claude Code to analyze it for me. And it didn't invent any figure, just computed based on what's actually there, what I fed it. I'll be flashing the data on the screen so you can check my math. Let's start with the league most exiles are playing, Trade League. On Trade League, there was around 117,000 characters. And by the way, only characters level 80 and up are saved for week 1 snapshots. So this sample size are only the level 80 to 100 characters. At top 5 in Trade League was the Chieftain, 6%, around 7,000 players. 75% of them played Righteous Fire. 63.1% were level 95 and up already in week 1. At rank 4 was the Necromancer at 9.7%, with Kinetic Blast of Clustering as the most popular skill at around 20%. Over 50% also level 95 and up on the first week alone in trade. Rank 3 is the Deadeye, 10.6% of the ladder, around 12,500 players, and only 30% using the main skill or the most popular skill, Elemental Hit of the Spectrum. 47% were 95 and up on the first week alone. Top 2 is the Slayer with 13.2% of the ladder, 15.5 players playing Elemental Hit, 38%, and around 49% level 95 and above on the first week. And rank 1 is the Hierophant, which is 21.6% of the ladder. And half of them were using Kinetic Fusillade or Fusillade. I don't know how to pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Kinetic Fusillade. 48.5% were 95 and up on the first week alone. So that rounds up the top 5 characters or ascendancies in Trade League Mirage release. Next, we move on to Hardcore Trade with a huge decrease in players or characters around level 80 and up on the first week. 4,271. At rank 5 is Necromancer, 9.7% of the ladder, 416 players only, with Ray Spectre as the most popular skill, and only 20% were level 95 and up. We have Chieftain, 9.7%, using a little over 75, a little over 3 out of 4 using Righteous Fire, and 26%, only 26% were 95 and up. Rank 3 is the Guardian. It's the first time we've seen the Guardian. It wasn't in Trade League, and it's 10.4% use, 32% using Absolution, and only 14% 95 and up. So it's a slow leveler. Rank 2 was the Slayer, 10.5% of the ladder, and almost half using Sunder as well. 19% were 95 and up in the first week. And at rank 1 is 23% or 23.6% of the ladder, using kinetic fusillade as well. The Hierophant, which is the same as the number one in Trade League, and only 17.9% reached level 95 and above on the first week. So that rounds up our hardcore trade top 5. Let's move on to solo self-found, which had a bit of a healthier size or number of players at around 11,660 characters. Rank 5 is still the Necromancer, but only 5.7% this time, using Kinetic Blast of Clustering at 20%, and 27% of them 95 and up. Elementalist with 6% of the ladder at 700 players, with a top skill. First time we've seen it today, Glacial Cascade of the Fissure, 58%, and 20% were 95 and up after the first week. We have the Guardian at rank 3, 8.8% of the ladder, around 1,000 players, and it's the first time we've seen this skill as well today. Holy Strike at 21.6%, 15% already 95 and up on the first week alone in solo self-found. We have top 2, still the Slayer. The Slayer's been top 2 on all the ladders this time, 14%, 1,638 players, and the top skill is still Elemental Hit, 36.6%, with a whopping 31% over 95 on the first week, and still in number 1, Hierophant with a whopping 31.7%, or 3,697 players in solo self-found, and more than half of them using Kinetic Fusillade at 63.6%, with a whopping 33.6% already 95 and up after the first week. So that rounds up our solo self-found top 5. Let's move on to hardcore solo self-found with the least amount of players, which is understandable, at 1,559 characters. At top 5, the first time we've seen this today, the Juggernaut, 8.7% of the ladder, with 50% using Bone Shatter of Complex Trauma, and around 19% 95 and up after the first week. Rank 4 is the Berserker, with first time we've seen the Berserker today, and only in hardcore solo self-found, 9.8% of the ladder, a whopping 81.7% played Earth Shatter, and 35%, almost 36% were level 95 and above. And at rank 3 is the Guardian, 11.5% of the ladder. Top skill was Dominating Blow with 25%, and 16% already 95 and up after the first week alone. Rank 2 still the Slayer, 11.5%, with Sunder as its most popular skill, 39%, and 22.2% completed, level 95 and up on the first week. And still the champion of Mirage League, Hierophant, with 21.8%, with a top skill, still Kinetic Fusillade as well, 45.3% used it, and around 22% were already 95 and up after the first week alone. So that rounds up our hardcore solo self-found top 5 with the best or the highest level finisher, the Berserker build or the Berserker Ascendancy. So as we can see, the full picture: Hierophant number 1 on every single ladder, Slayer number 2, nothing else did that. Necromancer made it to 3 out of the 4. Hardcore solo self-found is the only one it missed, and Guardian is a bit strange because you don't see it on regular trade, but the moment you go to solo self-found or have restrictions, it's in the top 5 straight away. And basically the story of the Chieftain and Berserker is that it's not too popular compared to the other top 5s, but it actually survives. They're not in the top 3 in adoption or with people playing them, but between the two of them, they level faster than all the others. So if you're asking what everyone's playing, Hierophant everywhere. If you're asking what actually reaches the end, then maybe Berserker or the Juggernaut. And one thing I'll say plainly, this is all Mirage data. 3.29 is coming in about 2 weeks, and for sure it will change some of this. So the moment the patch notes are out, I'll try to run this same table again against every buff and nerf one by one. And as for me, this is where I'm starting. Back for Curse of the Allflames from 0. Everything tracked, predictions logged with a confidence level and a deadline, and graded on camera. Later, hits and misses both. Let's see where the line goes.